Well, Jean Carroll, for the past few years, has attempted to get Donald Trump into court on defamation charges, claiming that she lost her job because Donald Trump had said that she was an absolute liar, that these charges were absolutely false. She was able to get him into court here in New York in a civil case under a rare one-year window for women victims of alleged sexual assault. It was under that specific statute that this civil trial came about. And there's been jurors for the past 2 weeks who have heard her testify in court here in New York.
One person who didn't testify was Donald Trump. He decided against it. Will this eventually work against him?
You know, I do think that it will work against him. However, when he does speak, I think his lawyers were fearful of what he might have said on the stand if he had lost his temper. Donald Trump was the kind of elephant in the room in the courthouse for these past 2 weeks. And, while he was not physically there, we were able to see video testimony from him that ended up being very damaging against him.
He has accused Ms Carroll of making up the story to drive sales of a 2019 memoir in which she made her claims public. What else has he said outside of court?
Well, Donald Trump has, of course, said that not only this particular case, but all the cases against him by women have been, completely false. In my book, we turned up dozens more cases of sexual misconduct against him. And of course, Donald Trump has denied that he's ever had an issue with any woman. So it is outrageous that so many women from so many different walks of life have come forward over the past several years and have accused him. And of course, he has claimed that all of their claims are lies.
And in this particular case, his defence team is relying on Ms Carroll's inability to recount an exact date of the alleged assault. How do you think this will impact the case?
Well, I think that, there's no perfect victim. And, her testimony that she gave was very riveting and very emotional. His lawyers really attempted to knock her down in ways that you just don't see anymore in the way modern day rape cases are tried. And I think that she was very convincing. And of course, while she couldn't remember the specific date, it was extremely important to the case of the two women who were her friends who came forward and testified in court, corroborating her statements that she had called them that specific day of the incident. One of the women, another author, had said that, had told her that, Jean Carroll, you were raped and that you should go to the police. Jean Carroll didn't want to go to the police. And so this story stayed buried until she wrote a book in 2019.
And as you mentioned before, the prosecution used the infamous Access Hollywood tape to paint Donald Trump as a sexual predator. Do you think that will convince the jury?
Well, I think Donald Trump was given the opportunity. Back when this tape first surfaced during the election, he had called it, put it off his locker room talk. In the video deposition, which was played for the jurors, Donald Trump said, yes, in fact, this does happen. And he said he also used the word fortunately in connection with sexual assault. And this was something that that her lawyers really hammered away at in the closing arguments, that Donald Trump admitted as such that he does exactly what he had said. He was also caught up in the video deposition by famously had said that she's not my type. And in fact, he was shown a photo of Jean Carroll in his deposition in which he said, oh, that's my wife, ex-wife Marla Maples. So this was, again, something very, very embarrassing for him and his legal team.
And Barry, how long do you think the jury will likely take to deliberate, and what are the possible and likely scenarios?
Yeah, because this is not a criminal case and it's a civil case, the bar is very low here for the jurors. They have to establish that there's a preponderance of evidence that shows that Donald Trump committed battery against Jean Carroll. She did not ask for any specific damages. However, experts say that if the jury does go in her favor, that it's likely that she will be that Donald Trump will have to face damages of $3 million or more.
And what would that mean politically for Donald Trump and his campaign for the White House?
Well, again, you know, Donald Trump has been the Teflon president and an individual who once said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. I think regardless of the outcome of this trial, his supporters will continue to defend him. But certainly it's going to give him a very, bad mark against him, being the first former president who would be found guilty of battery against a woman. And there's also all the other criminal investigations that are ongoing that will impact this presidential election that's upcoming here in the U.S.
Indeed. Barry Levine, always great to get your insights. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Yvonne.